Now then, everybody, and welcome to the Gridiron Reprobates podcast. As always, this podcast is aimed at a mature audience, so we may use some coarse language and talk about mature themes. And Phil's not here to swear at the beginning of the episode because Phil's on holiday in Greece.
Yeah, that's a shit move of him, so.
Yeah, lucky bastard.
Yeah.
But let me introduce the people who are here and have not bothered their asses to go on holiday. It's everyone's favourite Dutch Patriots fan. It's Bas Verbeek. How's it going, Bas?
Not bad. Dreading tonight's game, so.
This is definitely a wake up tomorrow and find out what the score is sort of Thursday night game.
Yeah, compared to the last 2 weeks, this is a big step down.
Yeah, but more on that later. That later. And it's everyone's favourite Scottish Buccaneers fan, Ryan. How are you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm good. Bucks are 2-0. Beat the Saints in their own home, so I'm all good.
Again, possibly. More on that later. But the first thing we should do is we should discuss last week's Thursday night game. We all picked the Chiefs, so the Thursday night game pick-em standings have not changed. Ryan is still in the lead after his miraculous Week 1 victory. But what did we think to the Thursday night game just gone?
Yeah, I think it kind of went how we all thought it would. Chargers did some nice stuff, but I think the scoreline doesn't reflect how good the Chiefs were, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. Two good teams. Both will be fine. But Chiefs got the victory, so kind of went as we thought, I think.
Yeah, I think it shows the difference between the good teams in the NFL and the great teams in the NFL. And I think at the moment we have two great teams, and the Chiefs are one of them. So.
I got very, very frustrated with the Chiefs. Not the Chiefs, sorry, the Chargers and their offensive game plan. You've got Justin Herbert, and you're throwing endless running back screens, small, shallow wheels, and throws into the flats. You've got one of the best arm talents in the entire league, and you're not using him to attack down the field. It was very frustrating, and I think it was ultimately why they lost, was their not inability, but their unwillingness to push the ball down the field. Their run game was insipid and wasn't working for them very well, and they just didn't let their all-world quarterback take them where they needed to go. So I got very, very frustrated with the Chargers in that game. But credit to the Chiefs, they hung tough against a very tough defense. Chargers defense was playing out of their minds in that game. They were playing good enough for the Chargers to win, but yeah, the Chargers offense stunk up the place in my opinion.
I think when they did allow Herbert to throw the ball deep, he made some amazing plays.
Exactly.
But I think was it his average depth of target in the second half was something like 3.5 yards or something ridiculous like that. It was just
exactly.
Yeah, but I felt watching it though, and was it Justin Watson got the 2 touchdowns for the Chiefs?
He definitely got one of them. He definitely got one of them. I'm not sure about the other one.
It was one of those things where I think I was watching it the next day, and I was thinking to myself, at any point, Chiefs are going to do what they need to do, and if they need to throw the ball downfield, they will do that. Watching the Chargers was just, meh. If they just start throwing the ball and trusting Herbert more, they could have won that game. But yeah, I don't think 3 points. I feel like the Chiefs should have won more than 3 points, but partly because of the Chargers. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it was close because the Chargers defense was playing lights out. In fact, if the Chargers hadn't thrown the pick six, you could argue that they'd have won the game because they put off more offensive points than the Chiefs put up. But I agree with you. The Chiefs kind of feel inevitable most of the time. And that's just a credit to how they've run their organization, how they've retooled themselves after getting rid of Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the repeat of last year's divisional round game, Bills-Chiefs, in the playoffs again. I think it's going to be a really fucking good game. We got anything else about Thursday just gone, gentlemen?
No, but I think the problem you have with the off play calling, it's not something new. I think even last season they were too conservative at times, and I think that's one of the main reasons they missed out on the playoffs in the end. So yeah.
Do you think that comes from their head coach? It seems to be that kind of. It's weird because you always hear that they go for it on fourth down a hell of a lot, yet it almost seems conservatively.
Yeah. Indeed, they are very aggressive at times with going for it, but it's not very aggressive if you're going for it and you're throwing it 5 yards down the field.
Yeah, I think it's a case of Brandon Staley wants to like put in all his faith in Joe Lombardi and say, look, I trust you implicitly to run this offense. You run the offense, and I think that's going to backfire on him because I don't think Joe Lombardi is good enough to get the best out of Herbert.
No,
So I think he needs to replace him with someone better.
always easier said than done. But.
True. But yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, if they don't do it this season, they really need to at least get a new OC
I
because
agree.
the team they have, they should be easily into the playoffs.
I completely agree.
I thought Mike Williams had a great game with Allen out. I thought he looked brilliant, which is obviously a positive.
Yeah, especially after week 1 where he wasn't completely invisible. So
yeah.
Is it Palmer, their third receiver for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
He was all right as well. Not the Chiefs. I keep getting the two mixed up. The Chargers. Palmer for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yes, disappointing from the Chargers. Hopefully, I don't even know who they're playing this week. Actually, I haven't even checked that out. But hopefully they'll bounce back.
Well, they should be able to. I guess Jaguars. So.
Yeah.
Jaguars can only beat teams with horse mascots, apparently.
Well, the Chargers are based on horses, so.
Are they? I thought they were, it's bad news for the Chargers then. Right, so let's move on from previous Thursday night and talk about the weekend just gone. And I need to get this out of my system before we start talking about week 2. And this, before anyone says anything, we are not a professional podcast. This is just some fans putting on a show because we enjoy talking American football. And I really need to get this out of my system. So here it goes. In your face, Saints fans, we told you what Jameis Winston was like. This is exactly who he is. He throws stupid interceptions. He crumbles under pressure. He overthrows people down field. You haven't fixed him. He's the same guy he always is. Enjoy your season. Now that's out of the way, we can talk a little bit more about the week 2 just gone. So, who do we think is the best team in the NFC?
Right now, the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't think it's close at the moment. The Eagles look just complete, like a complete team. I wouldn't put them on the level of the Chiefs or the Bills yet in terms of Super Bowl favorites or something like that. But if I had to say which NFC team is in the Super Bowl, it's going to be the Eagles at the moment because the other teams just haven't shown enough yet.
Yeah, the Eagles, they look very dominant, and their win against the Lions is looking better all the time, because the Lions, as you well know, Baz, the Lions are a pretty good team.
Yeah. I'm quite happy with my early preseason predictions about the Lions. So yeah.
The way they took apart the Vikings on Monday night was very impressive, considering how well the Vikings played against the Packers in week 1. So, yeah, they've got it appears to be their division to lose. So let's talk about some of the other potential candidates in the NFC. Obviously, there's the undefeated Giants. They've got to be up there as one of the best teams in the NFC. the Buccaneers cannot claim to be the best team yet because they're not playing very well on offense.
The injuries, I think, are just completely wrecking the offensive rhythm, the drops. There doesn't seem to be that chemistry that Brady sometimes needs with receivers. Even with Scotty Miller, it really wasn't there. Brate's not really been seen. But it's a team game.
Yeah.
Defense lights out. So,
with you guys both being Bucs fans, do you think that has to do with Brady missing a lot of preseason?
I don't think it's got much to do with that. I think it's probably got some things to do with what's going on with Mr. Brady in his personal life. And he may not be as dedicated to football as he usually is. But it reminds me very much of the start of the 2020 season where Brady had no training camp and came into the team cold and he wasn't firing on all cylinders. And then by November, everyone started to get healthy again and the offense was a complete and utter juggernaut. So it reminds me very much of that season. And our defense is playing well, really, really well. Well enough to keep us in most of the games we're going to play. So hopefully we'll be in a good spot when Brady wakes up a little bit in November.
Yeah, and I think last week against the Saints, it's not your normal game. The Saints have a great defense, plus you guys suck against the Saints.
Yeah.
In the regular season.
Yeah, it just never seems to work out. So
yeah, that was a monkey off our back. So I think I said before kind of the season started that the first 4 weeks were going to be so important, and if we could get out with being 2-2, I'd probably be okay with that because then our schedule kind of eases off for a wee bit. There's a real good chance we how our defense is playing, Rodgers doesn't tend to play well against us. If we can win the first 3, get beat off the Chiefs, be 3-1, I'd be delighted with that, to be honest, especially with how the offense is playing. But to be minimum 2-2 from that first 4 weeks, I think it's okay. It's okay.
I think going into Green Bay as a Bucs fan, I would be very positive because at the moment it seems Green Bay's offense isn't firing yet, and their most important weapons are the 2 running backs, and your running defense is pretty damn good. So
I think this Sunday is going to be one for the purists. There's not going to be a lot of offense in the game, I don't think.
No.
Because there's 2 very good defenses going up against each other.
Yeah.
And both 2 offenses that are not firing on all cylinders yet. So
yeah, I don't think you guys have a receiver at the moment who's fit who can beat J.I. Alexander. So that's gonna be
not cool.
No.
Oh, why?
I think I hate Cole Beasley. He's an absolute tool, but I think he makes so much sense for you guys at the moment, and that's sad.
A tool in both senses of the word.
Yeah, but him and Brady together, it just, it makes sense in a way, and that's with him over the middle could be quite useful at least.
So, but I think we're all agreed that you can't call the Bucs the best team in the NFC just because their offense is not playing well enough yet.
No. The first 2 weeks, we
might change our tune
by the end of the season, but
yeah, I agree. If the offense starts to get healthy and playing a lot better, then there's potential for this team to be the best team in the NFC. But at the moment, it's definitely the Eagles. Let's talk about some other potential candidates, like some teams in the NFC North, like the Vikings or maybe the Lions.
I would love to say the Lions. They are not there yet, but I at least I think every team in the league will not be going into Detroit and expecting a win at the moment, and that's for the Lions. That's a huge win, and that's something I don't think they have had for the last few seasons, and it's even with good offensive football, which they are much more explosive than I thought. They are the number 1 explosive have the most explosive plays of the season so far, with rushes over 10 yards or passes over 20. So, which is surprising for me, but yeah, with Swift and St. Brown, it's quite a tasty offense.
Yeah, St. Brown looks brilliant, doesn't he? He just
Yeah.
looks insane.
Absolute steal of a draft pick from 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
And for my fantasy team.
I mean, in what round did they kill him again?
I know there were 11 players taken before him because there was a
I
scene
think
in
he was
Hard.
asked before the game. He said, he was asked after the game in terms of like motivation, and he said one of his coaches said in the other side there was a player who was drafted above him, and I think has had hardly any snaps in the NFL, and he was like, "That's what motivates me. There's a guy over there that was drafted above me, and he's rubbish basically." Whereas
Yeah.
I'm really
There was a scene in Hard Knocks where he just stood there and listed every single wide receiver that was taken before him in the draft. And I think it was 11 players, and he's got that Brady chip on his shoulder. It's like all these, I'm going to make them all pay for not taking me before all these players. I mean, one of them was Jamar Chase, so fair enough. But
let's be honest. Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith were understandable choices, but yeah, it just shows that drafting is such an inexact science that most people just have no idea what they're doing. And yeah, he was taken in the 4th round. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
I wish my team could get a good receiver in the 4th round.
Or any round.
Or any round, yeah, it would be brilliant.
a good player.
Yeah. I think our best players come from, most of our best players nowadays seem to come from undrafted, so.
What about the Vikings? How do we feel about the Vikings?
I wasn't too impressed with them again. I don't know if it's because the Eagles are really good. I thought Slay had a unreal game up against Jefferson. Do you need to get Cook involved more?
And Thielen more, even.
Yeah, he played well near the end of the game. I don't know if it was just because it was more kind of like a prevent defense near the end of the game, but Thielen looked okay. One side note, what really annoyed me is I recorded both games to watch, and I was watching the Bills game first. Was it the Bills were the first Monday night game?
I can't remember which way around it went.
Yeah,
but whatever game I was watching, it then brought up the score and the time of the other game, and I was like, oh, I want to watch. I've recorded both to watch so I could see what was going on.
Yeah, I had the same stuff. I was watching the 40 minute version on NFL Game Pass, and it kept showing the score, and I just watched the highlights for the second game because I already knew the score. So,
but the Vikings, I think they'll be fine, but they're not quite up there, and I don't know what they need to do to be up there.
No, but I think at least AFC North. Start of the season, I thought the Green Bay Packers were going to run away with it, and if they lose against the Bucs, which is a distinct possibility, of course not certain, but they could be 1-2, and they, with the Lions and the Vikings looking how they look, it could be a much closer division than I expected. So,
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, the offense is not good yet for the
Packers.
And I can only see Rodgers getting more frustrated with those receivers.
One of them's got to start catching stuff, right?
No.
No
reason to do that.
What about the Rams? Do we feel the Rams are any way close to sniffing being the best team in the NFC?
Talent-wise, they should be up there. so far they haven't been firing on all cylinders yet. I mean, the first game, it's just shown that the Bills at the moment are a step above them. I don't blame them for losing that one. Against the Falcons came back in garbage time. That's master score a bit, but they do need to look a bit at the turnovers because Stafford's already up to 5 interceptions, I believe.
Jameis Winston levels.
Yeah, it's a bit too much, and not all they have a lot of superstars, and not all of them are playing at the highest level yet. So Jalen Ramsey doesn't look good yet at the moment. I expect him by the end of the season he will be back to his normal level, but at the moment they're not playing at the level they should, especially as the Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, they definitely got the Super Bowl hangover, haven't they? They should not be letting the Falcons claw back from the Falcons' favorite score.
No.
That was
but at least I think offensively this game was a lot better already with bringing Allen Robinson, getting some targets at least. Cam Akers being on the field at all for once. So Darrell Henderson looks like a good running back, especially if they use him well with Cam Akers. That could be a very good 1-2 punch. So they have all the tools, but they just need to get into rhythm and start churning out those wins.
Yeah, I think we need to watch out for the Falcons actually, because they played really well against the Saints. They played really well against the Rams, and the Saints and the Rams, they're not bad teams at all. So I think the Falcons might have a few surprise wins on their slate this year.
Yeah, I don't think the coaches and the players are doing what the front office wants. I really felt like this was a season for them to tank and get the number 1 pick, and it looks like they're feisty, and that's for the Falcon fans. That's good, but it's gonna maybe bite them in the ass in the end. So they remind me of the Dolphins 3 years ago in the first season on the Flores. They were bad, but they came back and started showing some good progression. So.
I think the issue with the Falcons is they have the big mental block of winning. Not in a bad way. Like, you obviously in a bad way, but no matter the game situation, whether they're in the lead like they were in week 1, or they're chasing from behind like they were week 2, they get it close no matter which way it'll go, but they never seem to be on that winning side of it. And as much as, again, I'm a big fan of Mariota, in how he's playing, and I do think there's something there. It seems to be that mental block of when you're in that close game, or if you're getting chased by opponents in terms of the score, you just can't seem to get over that mental block of closing out games. And the Buccaneers had it for years with Winston as well. Anytime there's a close game, you could guarantee an interception or a team coming back and getting that last-second field goal. Or we would get a last-second field goal and Matt Gay would hit it wide, or Aguayo would hit it wide. It's just that weird mental block that they seem to have right now, and have had for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I think the Houston Texans are suffering the same at the moment. They've been leading into the fourth quarter in both their games, and they lost both. Or they tied one and lost the other. But they've been outscored 27-0 in the fourth quarter in the first 2 games, so that's pretty bad.
I think the difference there, though, is I'm much more confident in Arthur Smith to be aggressive and try and get wins than I am for passive, cuddly Lovey Smith to be aggressive and try and get wins.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, it's a shame, especially the first game. If you're leading 3-20 against the Colts, you should win that game in the fourth quarter.
Especially because the Colts are rubbish.
Yeah, surprisingly bad.
Surprisingly rubbish, but rubbish all the same.
Yeah.
Who gets shut out by the Jags?
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
And again, we did allude to it that everyone was going mad for the Colts, the new Colts under Matt Ryan. The guy throws interceptions in the most inopportune times. He's not quite the Matty Ice of old, other than his cold arm that just doesn't seem to be working. But yeah, they look bad. Why are they not getting Taylor involved? It seems to be nothing coming from Jonathan Taylor. It's just why.
It's quite strange, but if you actually look at the numbers, Taylor has the third most carries of all running backs so far this season. And that's...
I'm surprised at that.
Yeah. That's because we had the same discussion yesterday on the podcast. We were all surprised, but he's getting the carries, but it's just... It's not enough. And in the passing game, they're getting nothing. So, but yeah, it would almost not surprise me if we get a season in the playoffs this year from the AFC South that's not above 500.
Trevor Lawrence did look really good though.
Yeah, the Jaguars have definitely taken a step forward, but I think talent-wise, they're nowhere near yet. So.
Yeah.
I mean, if they go 7-9, I think that's a decent season for them from where they come from. So, and that might be enough this year.
Yeah, it's good to see improvement from them. I think Jags are one of those just inoffensive teams that I like Trevor Lawrence as well. So it's good to see, and I like Doug Peterson. So it's good to see at least some show of improvement from them.
Yeah, if this progression continues, we can at least say he was worth a first round pick. And last year you couldn't say that at all. So, and considering the hype that Trevor Lawrence had coming out of high school, even so, that was surprising. But yeah, you can't even blame him with a year of Urban Meyer there. So
yeah, this is his real rookie season. I'm
thinking. I mean. Of course, Urban Meyer got fired halfway through the season, but that entire season was lost from the get-go. So,
yeah.
Jack Coy comes in saying Christian Kirk looks like value for money. Yeah, how many touchdowns has he got? 2. How many?
It's,
there's
value there, and there's a lot of money there. So, but yeah. It's the problem if you're a losing team. You have to play players more to come to you. So, I mean, if you can offer a chance at the ring, you can always get players cheaper.
Yeah. 2 touchdowns, so that's currently $9 million a touchdown. Nice. But
that's unfair after 2 games. I mean, if let's be honest, if in the end of the season he has 17 touchdowns, everybody says that's a good deal.
Yeah. The problem with Christian Kirk always was how much he got paid, not his actual talent level. He's a decent receiver. He's currently the 3rd best paid receiver in the league, and he's certainly not the 3rd best receiver in the league. But he's not a terrible receiver by any stretch. No,
I think he's getting wide receiver 1 money while being a number 2 receiver. And he's a great number 2, but if he's the guy you're building your entire offense around, I think you have a problem.
So we've kind of segued into what I wanted to talk about next kind of nicely. And that is what is happening with last year's playoff teams from the AFC. And the Colts are slightly involved in this, even though they didn't make the playoffs. But the Bengals, the Titans, and the Raiders, all playoff teams last year, all currently 0-2. And including the Colts, of those 4 teams, who do we feel the most nervous about?
Titans.
Yeah.
Titans, for sure. I mean, the Raiders losing the first game in a close match against the Chargers, who we all agree are a good team. Perfectly understandable. Against the Cardinals, losing in overtime, sure, how it happens was sad, but it happened because of 2 Hunter Renfro fumbles, which is rare because Hunter Renfro, especially last season, was rock solid and utterly dependable. So, that happens. It sucks, but they should be able to overcome that, and they look like a capable team. The Bengals, yeah, it's surprising, but there's enough there, I think, that should be fixable if they get the O-line playing a little bit better, because so far it's been utterly woeful. But the Titans, I don't see how they're going to score any points this season. I mean, Hunter Henry isn't Hunter Henry. Traylon Burks definitely isn't AJ Brown, and yeah, and Ryan Tannehill looks worse, and that O-line is regressing as well. So it's gonna be so damn hard.
The main thing I think the Titans have going for them is I trust their head coach. I think most of that group, even the Colts, I trust Vrabel more than any of those other coaches to turn it around. I don't think he's got the personnel to do it this season. I think he could very easily turn this team around in one off season and get them back to being contenders again. But I think they're just too talent deficient in key spots.
Yeah. Plus, I think last season they were the number 1 seed, but that was very, very misleading, I think, in terms of what the actual team was. So, they've certainly regressed. I agree. Vrabel is good head coach. They should be able to restock, but they just need to take an entire look and just make some hard choices and hopefully draft well, because they definitely need to load up more. So,
I'm kind of worried about the Bengals, but I want to couch this in that I don't think it's a problem with the players. I think it's a problem with the head coach. The amount of times you can predict exactly what the Bengals are going to do just by seeing how they line up is insane. They run, I think it's something crazy. Like if they're under center, 90% of their plays are runs. If they're in the shotgun, 90% of their plays are passes. You can't do that. It's the NFL. If people like me, who are no great shakes as a coach, can sit watching the TV version going, bet that's a run and it's a run, bet that's a pass and it's a pass, then people who are paid millions and millions of dollars to defend this type of thing can definitely work that out. And it leads to things like the Bengals have faced more defenses or run the ball against 6 defenders in the box more than any other team in the NFL, and they're something like 30th in rushing efficiency. So if you can't run the ball well against light boxes, because everybody knows when you're going to run the ball, that's a problem. So I think they need to the offensive play calling needs to change, whether that's handing that off to someone else on the staff or changing something up entirely. But and when Joe Burrow is yelling to the sideline, "No more empty," we can't keep playing plays in empty. You know something's wrong, because that team is far too talented to be looking this bad. I'm worried about the Bengals, and it's all because of the coaching staff.
Yeah, no, I agree with. I think last year we were spoiled with the Bengals. They went on a magical run. Nobody expected them to be in the Super Bowl. They got there. Sadly for them, they lost. But they definitely had a chance. But it hit a lot of things with Shaq Taylor that nobody's buying into him still. nobody even still knows what kind of coach he is. And for a coach that went to the Super Bowl, that's weird in a way. But it just felt like they were being carried by Burrow, being on an insane hot streak with some of the best receivers out there, and it just everything clicked. And if it's just a little bit off, it all falls down so far. And I don't think he is the coach to just give that extra nudge to put it right again. I think he got lucky, and in a way, it's great for the Bengals. They got there, always a great story, but it might, in the long term, hinder them because they will hold on to Zach Taylor longer than they should.
Jack makes a really good point here. He says Titans against Raiders this week is a massive game, as both teams feel like it's going a massive game for both teams because once you're 0-3, it's a real uphill struggle to get to the playoffs. So Titans Raiders is a massive game this weekend. Who do you think's going to win?
I'm going Raiders.
Yeah, I don't feel confident about saying Raiders though. I really don't.
Yeah,
I agree. I think the Raiders will win, but I'm not confident about it.
See, I wasn't as low on the Titans as everyone else was prior to the season. I'm now starting to see maybe I should have been, but Vrabel, if they could just a spark from somewhere, they play in a real poor division, so it won't take much to make the playoffs. Being in that division, it seems like the Raiders kind of have that same thing as the Falcons, that mental block where they can't quite seem to be able to win close games. But at the same time, it's really hard to defend. I think the Athletic podcast called it the go do something Kyler offense. And it's so hard to defend against because they don't know what he's doing. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, especially with that Cardinals game, that 2-point conversion, what was it? 84 yards run by Kyler in 20 seconds. It was
to make 3 yards.
You can't. It's if you can't get to him, it's indefendable in the end. You can't keep running, covering everything. So, yeah, and like I said, those two fumbles by Renfro were killer to them. Yeah. To just get that first down there, they never get that extra chance, and they win easily. And no one is talking about the Raiders at the moment.
Yeah. Agreed. It was a bit fluky their loss. However, Danny, who is a Bengals fan, has said Taylor seems like a nice guy who has a good relationship with the team, but has no tactical genius. All our success has come from player magic rather than outsmarting teams. Hard agree.
Yeah, pretty much what I was trying to say. Yeah, but more precise.
What on the Bengals as well is when you're talking about lining up under center, lining up under shotgun at kind of 90% of plays, you're just dying for a simple play action pass. Let's open it up a bit. Let's make the other defense think about what we're going to do. A stupid flea flicker just to get a spark from somewhere, and it doesn't seem like they're interested in doing it. And it's especially with a new offensive line, you need to give them a chance as well. It's on the coaching, it's in the play calling.
Yeah, it's
I
so
think
hard.
ultimately, with the talent they have, they should be okay.
Yeah,
going forward,
it's so hard as an offensive lineman to try and defend against a defender who's got the jump on you. Because if the defender knows all he has to do is pin back his ears and rush because he knows you're going to pass, which usually happens in situations where you're chasing the game and you've got to throw the ball. Trying to block people when they've got the jump on you is much more difficult than when you've got the advantage of the snap count and you can hit them first. So I completely agree with what you're saying, Ryan. You've got to give everyone that team a chance because if they do, good things will happen. We also included the Colts. Why are the Colts so bad? They shouldn't be this bad.
I don't think Matt Ryan's as good as what people think. And I said it. I said it
But
before,
it's not.
I just really don't. And I feel like people were expecting this massive improvement from Wentz last year, and I think a lot of that was based on that final game in Jacksonville. That was my door. Sorry.
Someone really agreeing with your point there.
I think, yeah, I don't see the massive improvement from Wentz to Matt Ryan that takes them from that team they were last year to not regressing on other parts of their game. I don't know.
No,
it just doesn't seem to be right now.
No, but Matt Ryan is only part of the problem. I think their receiver core isn't very good at the moment, and their offensive line has taken a massive step back in the last few years.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Baz. It's not, Matt Ryan is part of the problem, but he's not the only problem. They're not a team that is being let down by their quarterback. They're playing badly as a team. On defense as well, they're really missing Leonard. He's injured at the moment, right? I've got that right.
Yeah,
and they're really missing him.
What's the well. Buckner? Didn't he? I believe he didn't play against the Jaguars even. Buckner, right?
I shall find out. Google knows.
Yeah.
But I think all these things you are saying, it was overlooked because look, we've got Matt Ryan who's thrown for so many thousand yards in his career, and people weren't looking at the deeper issues of that team that were coming to the fore last season as well. No receivers, injuries on defense. Maybe Frank Reich's kind of had his time there. Maybe just needing a fresh look at the team. I feel that was a lot of that was masked because, look, we don't have Wentz anymore. We've got Matt Ryan.
Do they still have a ton of cap room as well?
I think so. As far as I know, they do.
I don't think they've spent up to the cap, have they? So maybe this team's just badly put together.
Yeah, everybody was. Who's their GM again?
Chris Ballard.
Everybody was very positive about him 2 years ago with the team they put together. But yeah, they've been conservative with their money. But if you're not getting talent,
sure, they're not drafting well either. I mean, it's one thing to be conservative with your money and then draft well, but they're not doing that. Sin, huh?
I'm just looking at their cap and over the cap. So they've got $8 million. So
that's what I thought. Yeah. So.
The next year cap space is $21 million, but I think obviously they can get rid of a lot of that based on the contracts and some cap savings they can make. But going into 2024, it's crazy amounts they've got. So long term, they've got lots of room to change things if they so wish to do so.
Yes, it's going to be because we thought, or the prevailing thoughts were that the AFC was going to be very competitive this season, and so far it turns out it might not be. Apart from the two at the top, obviously, who are going to romp it.
Yeah, competitively bad.
Yeah, but I don't even think it's the problem of the AFC. I think it at the moment it looks like every other team but those two is just not there close compared to them at all yet. So I mean, at the moment the Chiefs and the Bills just look a step ahead, and it's not close, I feel. So
cool. Yeah. So, is there anything else from week 2 that we liked or didn't like, or want to chat about before we predict tonight's Clash of the Titans?
A couple from me. It was sad to see Trey Lance injury.
Yeah.
but it shows why they kept Garoppolo. And if anything, the offense are going to fall back into from the last couple of years is effective. So I hate saying this about any injury, but for short termness, it's not might be a bad thing. Long term, obviously, it is, because now you're in a position where if Jimmy G comes in and has an unbelievable season, what do you do? What do you do? Do you pay him? Do you go, can't trust that back off that injury? It gives them some headache at that point. Second point was the Broncos look so bad. Obviously,
Yeah.
still looks really bad.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand was they punted when it could have been a 58-yard field goal in Denver, but the previous week kicked a 64-yard goal. Just make it make sense, Hackett. Make it make sense.
I loved their fans counting down the play clock. That was funny as hell.
Well, that was needed. So yeah, at the moment, Hackett just looks out of his depth in Denver so far.
Yeah.
Just not being fast enough on his feet.
Yeah.
Think.
To me, that has to be. Is Hackett calling plays?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So are they? Is he just not getting play calls in soon enough? Because I noticed the video in. I can't remember if we spoke about it last week, but it was someone on the Seattle sideline the week before. It was Tyler Lockett, and he was telling the defense it's the same offense he's running. The hand signals are the same. Look for the hand signals. If he does this, he's running this. If he does that. So is it Hackett trying to understand stuff that Russ has brought to the table, or is it Hackett just indecisive on the offense he wants to run, gets the play in far too late, and I think they took another, was it 4 delay a game penalties or something like that at the weekend, which is just unacceptable. It's not really sure what's going on.
I think there's obviously some sort of mechanical issue in how they get the plays decided and into Russ's ear. So a good offensive coordinator will say, right, I'm going to run this play, and if we complete the ball for a big gain, we'll run this. If we complete the game for a short ball game, we'll run this. If we get sacked, we'll run this. If it's an incomplete, we'll run this. So they've got all those like permutations in their mind ready. And I don't think Hackett's doing that. I think it's gone, haha, great. Let's look at the play sheet. Let's see what we got. And then there's that. So it's taking too long to do that. And then it's not getting communicated to whoever's up in the booth, who will then communicate down to Russ in his earpiece to tell him what to do. Then Russ doesn't have enough time to make the play call in the huddle and break the huddle and get everyone set. So there's definitely a mechanical issue with how the plays are getting called, which is resulting in all these delay of games.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at the moment. And going back to Trey Lance, I agree with. It might increase their chances this year, which is sad, but yeah, it's sad because you still don't know what you have with Trey Lance now, and you're going into year 3, him coming off an injury, because it's confirmed now he's out for the season, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, next year you have the third year coming off an injury. He might not be 100% yet. You need to retool again, and then you're going to your fourth year, and you already need to decide on your 5th-year option on him. So, especially with him not playing in his first year, now missing his second year, you're limiting yourself to 3 years of his rookie contract at most, and it's your entire future which you gamble here. So, and with Jimmy G, I believe with his restructured contract, they have no options to keep him pretty much unless they offer him a huge new contract. But
Pretty much.
no,
He's pretty much gone.
Yeah, he's gone. So for Jimmy G, himself, this is the perfect opportunity. Play well and get a starting job with the Colts next year.
It definitely will be the Colts as well, won't it?
Yeah, it's just they're just gonna recycle the offcuts of the different teams now. I feel like so. Yeah. I mean,
anything else? from week 2?
I'm so far disappointed in the average level of play. I think, especially the offenses so far haven't fired yet.
Unless you're the Bills or the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
yeah. The offenses so far that have played well are the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, the Lions.
The
And
Ravens,
those,
apart from their running game,
yeah,
other than Johnson.
yeah. So yeah, it's. I don't know what it is this season, but yeah, but maybe it's just difference in levels between certain teams, and a lot of teams seem very close, and we just don't have that elite group yet. So we'll have to see how it goes. But
There has been a lot of good defense at the same time.
yeah,
And
the defense has
one thing,
definitely been good.
it seems like the officials are letting defense play a bit more, which is good. And they seem
Unless
to
you
have
play.
got rid of that ridiculous taunting flags as well. I've not seen any of them, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I get what you mean. I see where you're coming
Yeah,
from.
maybe it's the defense that needs to readjust to being a bit more physical again. Perhaps that's it, but we'll have to see. But I think certain certain offenses we expect to be powerhouses, I think, just aren't clicking yet. Like the Bengals, like the Bucks, and if they get it going, they should be good again. No problem. The talent is there, so.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. With so many wide receivers doing well this year, do you think this might be a year where wide receiver can win an MVP? If Cooper Cup didn't win an MVP last year for what Cooper Cup did, then no. When you win the Triple Crown of receiving and you don't win the MVP, then it's going to take some sort of monumental receiving effort. Maybe 2,000 yards, I think, is going to be needed to get even a sniff of a non-quarterback winning an MVP.
2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns at least,
Yeah.
200 touches. Yeah, it's going to be hard,
It's going to be Josh Allen.
and especially how some quarterbacks who have come out so far, how they're playing, they're not. It's going to be impossible, I think.
Yep, I agree. Anything else from week 2 that we liked or did not like?
I think Josh will kill us if we don't mention it, but go Jets. Like Mills, Flacco.
Who are you and what have you done with Joe Flacco? That's what I want to know.
I'll take Josh's point. So, future Hall of Famer Joe Flacco will join Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in being the first player to win Super Bowls with 2 different teams.
I know there was a bit of discussion in the Discord as well, where people understood Nick Chubb going for the touchdown. Me personally, I don't, especially since he did it last year. He kneeled before scoring a touchdown to ensure your team win the game. If that option is there, which it was, do it. And yeah, Kareem Hunt could have done it as well. That's correct. That's at that point where the coaches should be, he should have done this. If you get the chance, get first down, kneel, let's run out the clock. Anything can happen in the NFL. Everybody should know that. I don't get it. If you can ensure 100% you're going to win this game, I'm sorry, but I want you to do it like he did last year.
No, definitely, but I don't know if he forgot or if last year the coaches said it again to him, kneel, go down, and this time they didn't. But yeah, but I believe the coaches pretty much threw him under the bus as well after the game, and that's definitely not the right thing to do with your players, especially probably your best offensive player you have at the moment.
Something's rotten in Cleveland. I wonder what caused all this like disharmony and dysfunction. It's a mystery.
Strange. Yeah.
Also, get rid of prevent defense. I hate it.
Yeah, it's much better to blitz 8 on the final play of a game.
Not that either.
A happy medium.
Yeah. See if you could combine aggressive Todd Bowles and Mike Smith, you might have a decent happy medium there. Mike Smith, constant prevent defense.
The game kicks off quick, guys. We're not losing into prevent. Cool. All right. Speaking of the Cleveland Browns are playing tonight against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are we going to bother our asses to watch this game, folks?
I'll watch the highlights tomorrow morning.
It does look super dull.
I think I'll record. I think I'll watch it.
Yeah.
It might, if it's a close game, it might be just a watch. You might see Trubisky complete a pass or something.
You're pretty hopeful, so yeah. I think
I want to see more Pickens. Yeah. I want to see Pickens. I want to see him more involved because I really, really like him. That's really the only thing I'm looking forward to be honest, see if he gets more involved.
Yeah, but that Steelers offense is so damn bad. And the defense without TJ Watt is a big step down. I mean, in week 1, the Patriots had a lot of problems with their O-line. And the second week, last week, they went up against the Steelers without TJ Watt. And they held pretty damn easily, so. And the pass rush of the Dolphins isn't that good in comparison, so. TJ Watt is just that X factor in that defense, and they need the defense to be legendary if they have any chance of going anywhere this season. So.
Yep. So, who do we think is going to win?
Sadly, I have to go say the Browns. I think.
Ryan, where'd you go, Ryan? was the talk of Thursday football so bad?
Yeah, I think they just have a bit more on offense, and defense-wise, they both have a good defense. So I just don't see that Steelers offense doing anything again for third week.
Yep. Can you hear us, Ryan? I'm going to take that as a no.
Oh.
He's gone again. All right, well, I shall relay the thoughts of Phil Knuckles. He says, fuck the Cleveland Browns. So we all know where he stands. He's predicting a Steelers win.
I share the sentiment, but...
Yeah, I agree. I share the
can't
sentiment.
Share the pick for the Steelers.
I share the sentiment, but I can't pick the Steelers. They just look too terrible in all facets. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Browns' running game. The Browns, although the defense looked terrible against whoever they were playing in week 2, don't think it's going to have any trouble. The Jets, that's of course. We're just talking about that. I don't think they're going to have any trouble stopping Mitch Trubisky and that Pittsburgh offense. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's Mitch Trubisky. It's not Joe Flacco. So
yeah,
it's a huge difference.
So I think Browns.
And I think at the moment, especially looking at the Jets last week, Garrett Wilson is a huge weapon for the Jets. So, and
yes.
I don't see any of the wide receivers for the Steelers at the moment stepping up to that level.
Oh, right, he's back. Is he back? He is back. He moved his laptop slightly to the right for a better
Wi-Fi on this site.
So Ryan, we were just talking about the Thursday night game. Who do you think is going to win?
Do I need to pick?
Yes.
Yeah, that Steelers offense is just so dull. Browns by 3.
Yeah, we've all come to a very similar conclusion. We are, apart from Phil, who is a man of principle and will never pick the Browns for anything. We're all reluctantly picking the Browns because we think the Steelers are just worse.
Well,
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. So, that is it for another week. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was a lot of fun. If you're watching this back, if you're not watching this live and you're watching this back at a different time, please give the video a like or leave us a comment. We'd love to interact with everybody and share our footballing opinions with you folk. So please leave some comments, and we'll catch you all next week. See you later.
Bye.
bye.